Welcome back, or welcome if it's the first time here to the Own Your Power Lifestyle Show. I'm Coach Simone Kelly, author, intuitive life coach, and Reiki master with Own Your Power Communications. We're your trusted guide to conscious living, intuitive wisdom, and personal growth. And today's topic is one of my favorite topics. We're talking about lifting for longevity, the science behind strength training after 35. And I have two of my toughest coaches I've worked with over the years. And I'm excited to have them, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. First, I'll tell you about Shondelle. Shondelle is a fitness transformational coach with 30 years of experience, including owning a CrossFit gym for 17 years and coaching thousands of clients. Through her FAST system, she now helps women 40 plus lose stubborn belly fat. Help me, please. To build strength and regain confidence with a realistic, hormone smart approach designed for this stage of life. Shondell, you're the first person that I actually, that's how I learned about CrossFit. I never knew what CrossFit was. So yeah, I do remember you introduced me to a lot. And then Thornton is one of my coaches that I had in Atlanta who really like got me in shape. I'm still working on it, but I've gotten a lot better. And JT is a former NFL player, Georgia native who played for teams including Chicago Bears, Cleveland Browns, and Atlanta Falcons. I don't think I even knew he played for all of them. Today, he combines his passion for fitness and leadership as the head strength and conditioning coach at D1 Atlanta and as a compliance officer for the NFL operations working with the Atlanta Falcons. I feel like saying D1. That was not only was he a coach, he's a great hype man. He knows how to like really inspire you and really good at building community. So I'm like when I left, I cried. I never cried leaving the gym. So that was crazy for me when I left to come to Costa Rica. So,
We miss you a great deal.
thank you.
Mhm.
So with today's topic, I really wanted to talk about it. I made this show not just for the audience, but my dad needs to watch this. My dad is 81. And he's been making little cracks because he sees he's finally joined Instagram, and he's been making little cracks and hey, hey, you got to be careful. You don't want to bulk up too much. See you lifting all those heavy weights. You got to be careful. I was like, Dad, trust me, I'm not gonna get bulky. I'm not gonna get manly. If anything, I lost more weight lifting heavy, and more inches since I started. Even when I started CrossFit in Atlanta many years ago, before I met you, JT. So yeah, I wanted to educate people because a lot of people do see when they see me lifting weights, they think I'm trying to be a muscle bound woman. So, that's why I wanted to educate people. And also, I was telling my dad, he just talks about, he brags about walking 10,000 steps. And I'm like, you need to lift weights, Dad. You need to be picking up something. Eventually you ain't gonna be lifting arm. And he was like, no, no, I lift up a couple of weights in the house, but he doesn't really know what to do. So I wanted to share at least why it's important to even get a trainer, not to just go picking up 5 pound, 2 pound weights. A lot of women, a lot of women do. So first and foremost, I wanted to ask, why does strength training become more important after 35? Shondell, you want to start?
Well, so first off, Imma say, when I read your title, I was like, 35 is I feel like 35 is still, like, on the younger side of life. It's
Really?
40, 40 is
What's
still
better?
young, but the body really like, for females, I mean, there are some women who will transition into, like, early perimenopause in the mid-30s, but
Hmm.
the significant changes really start happening after 40 and 45.
Okay.
But nonetheless, we lose muscle as we get older, right? And we become a lot more insulin resistant. And so our bodies don't process carbohydrates the same way. And having muscle helps us be a lot more insulin sensitive, right? But the main reason is that muscle is our metabolic tissue and we lose it as we get older, right? Each year of life, you're
Mhm.
progressively getting less muscle if you are not doing everything you can to maintain. I tell my female clients, like muscle is like your currency, right? It's like your money in the bank. Like you at all expenses, you cannot lose it. And at the very least, you got to maintain, but ideally, you've got to build it as you get older and older.
Right. JT, what you got to say about that?
Yeah, same thing. Obviously, muscle mass it decreases as we get older. Nobody's immune to that. We're not as active doing those things to build the muscle. Typically, in the younger years, bone density begins to decrease. There's a heightened sense of being prone to injury. The metabolism slows down oftentimes as we get older, right? So it's so important just to kind of keep that going for longevity purposes. or for sustainability. And again, a big one for me is to, do some injury preventive type of,
Right.
items. You mentioned I played in the NFL, and when I got there, I was very concerned with like lifting a lot of weights, right? And one of my veterans, R.W. McQuarters, or McQuarters, R.W. I'm forgetting his name. It sounded like McQuarters, but he told me basically you got to lift weights to keep injury off you. That's the whole purpose, right? And I was like, okay. So the light bulb kind of came on. Then and I started viewing things differently from that point. So obviously, if we're not lifting or staying active, then we're going to be more prone to injuries. And I've recently gotten into mountain biking, and I take a bunch of spills and falls, right?
See.
But
Yep.
I'm typically bouncing right back. I'm nearly 47, so on the closer end to 50, and I can't boast and brag that most of my buddies are doing that, right?
Right.
So there's just great benefit to just continuing it, definitely beyond 40. I would agree with, Coach, Shondelle that, it's really that 40, 45 and up. 35, they still got a little bit of that
Yeah,
youthfulness
they
in 'em.
still got milk around the mouth. That's like,
They can take a fall and hop right up and
yeah,
just dust themselves off.
yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about also what the myth of why do people think that when women work out or lift weights, that they're gonna bulk up? Is that really a myth? Like, is there any truth to
Yeah.
that?
It's a myth, and for some reason, women just identify with like the 0.001% of female bodybuilders, if that, then that may be generous, right? They see those like extreme women and think that that's the case for most women. But you look at the average woman in the gym who's working out consistently, lifting weight, they do not look like that. Women don't produce the testosterone to get big, right? Men produce 20 times more testosterone than females, and that's what's responsible for bulking and really gaining size. Are there some genetic, there's maybe some women who could be a little bit more prone to getting muscle, but still it's not something you just accidentally do. You know what I mean? It's with intention. You got to eat an excessive amount of calories, which most women are not doing. Right? And a lot of the women, I would not even say a lot. I would say all the women you see that are like, with men, yeah, they're taking stuff, right? They're taking steroids, they're taking testosterone, they're taking other things to enhance their physique because they want to look like that. Because bodybuilding is what they do. That's not 99.9% of women who lift weights. That's probably the myth that drives me like the absolute craziest. Seeing women in the gym like throwing around 5-pound dumbbells thinking they're gonna like do something. It's like such a pet peeve of mine. But yeah, it for some reason the myth don't it just doesn't go away.
And JT, have you had to coach women with that same issue or that same fear with
Of
the
course, of course, and, obviously,
Never goes away.
they'll take shots and say, "Well, I'm not trying to try out for the NFL. I'm not
Oh,
trying to become a bodybuilder or this, that, and the third because I come from that strength and conditioning background. So that's always been my approach with training, athletic performance type training, right? Again, like coach said, our testosterone levels are way higher. Someone who wants to bulk as a female would have to have years of experience to do so. I mean, it's so much loading in terms of food consumption, very intense hypertrophy training and programming. But your average run of the mill, I'm strength training, I'm lifting up heavy weight. That's actually going to do more to help you stay lean and develop the muscle that's going to
Yeah.
burn fat than it is to make you all bulky looking. There is a young lady that comes to mind that I worked with for a short period of time. Good friend of mine went to school in the AUC. I'm a graduate of the AUC at Morris Brown College, and she reached out to me when she was on early in her fitness journey, and started working out with her. And we're strength training and we're lifting heavy weights. We're doing all the lifts that I had done as a former athlete. We're doing all the lifts that I trained any male client on. She's doing the same thing, but obviously, there's different weights and levels to it. But she's doing all the movement patterns that the guys are doing. And she started dropping weight and she was looking really, really good and she was developing the muscle, right? But then there came a point to where she told me that, people were criticizing like, yo, you're putting on so much muscle, right? but the muscle was very, very key. Now today, her body's contoured and her body composition, she looks amazing. All she does is get compliments, and people just want to know what she did. But I remember back when she got the criticism, about having that well-defined arm and well-defined back. But I don't view that as a bad thing. I think that's a really, really good thing because again, over time, it's going to serve you well. And I do understand that there's lots of uh, ladies out there that want that soft look, right? They
Mhm.
want to be curvaceous, but they want softer, and things will come to balance. Like everybody's kind of figuring out their body, and it's not a perfect science to this. We kind of just give framework and templates of what to do, but you're gonna figure out things on your own, and you're gonna know that okay, when I really lift heavy up top, more of my push pull
Right.
I might my body reacts really, really quickly. So you can taper it off. That doesn't
Mhm.
mean that you eliminate movements. You can just kind of play with your weights or the range of motion or the weights. But I've definitely experienced that, and I always kind of shoot that down and assure them that you want to be building the muscle. You experienced it yourself. You talked about how you started seeing benefits in terms of the inches, right? And that's super, super important when I start working with somebody. Don't pay attention to that scale right away. We're looking at what your body's responding to, and I'm looking at inches specifically, but yeah.
Right. I was saying I was at an event and somebody complimented my shoulders. I was like, they were like, "You work out?" I was like, "Oh, you can
Yeah,
tell?"
exactly. It's a good thing.
You be working
It's a
out
good thing.
hard. I be watching your videos. You work out hard. I
Look,
love it.
and when I
I love
and when I see y'all your backs out, I'll be like, "Okay, let them see that back. Let them see them lat pulls." I'm looking at Coach Shondelle right now, I see a couple cuts in them
That
arms
was
a little
real.
bit.
you know,
That's a
Shondell
good thing, man. That's
Shondell
a
is
good
real.
yeah,
thing.
I think you kinda mentioned about seeing people in the gym all the time. Do you ever notice when you see people in the gym and they look exactly the same? Because all they do is the treadmill or the Stairmaster, that kinda works. But, like, just doing
I
the
love the
treadmill, right?
stairmaster.
I love the Stairmaster. I've seen the difference when I do that. What can you tell somebody that does the same thing over and over again and they still look the same? I mean, obviously, eating is a big part of it too, but what advice can you give to some of these
Well,
who think they crushing it at the gym, but they doing the same shit?
I mean, just like anything, right? Adaptability. You keep doing the same thing, your body's not going to change, right? It's like somebody who has never had a sip of alcohol, you give them a glass of wine, they're all over the place, versus somebody who drinks a glass of wine every night, you give them a glass of wine, has no effect, right? So the body is going to adjust to what you do. And if you want it to change, you've got to do something different. So that's where the concept of like progressive overload, right? Constantly changing some aspect of your routine, whether it's weights or reps or rest periods or tempo or something. But I mean, like anything, if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to stay exactly where you're at. It's so important to get uncomfortable. And I think that's probably, I mean, there are a lot of benefits to having a coach, but that's probably one of the main ones is that it's just human nature that we only gonna get so far outside of our comfort zone. You know what I mean? And I'm sure JT will testify to this, like, and myself, like, I like training hard, I like working hard, but I know when I have somebody pushing me, I'm gonna work way harder than I'm gonna work on my own, even though I know what to do and I know what intensity looks like. So yeah, if you're doing the same thing, then you just gonna expect the same. Now, if you're happy where you are and you just want to maintain, you know what I mean? Then you
Right,
can kind of get in a little more of a, this is why I go in the gym and I do these few exercises. I know my weights but if
right,
you're trying to make progress, which I feel most people are wanting to improve in
right.
some way, right? Then you've got to change it up.
Well, I would, give props to JT as well because at the gym, we had an app, even though I never used to use it that much, but to keep track of what you do. But that helped me since I moved to Costa Rica. I don't have a trainer here to like know what to do and write down and then to add on. Okay, I know how to do. I did 120. Now I could do 130 next week. So like I know track
Yeah.
and like tremendous. That has helped me so much, and I feel so confident in the gym. People be looking at me like, "Oh, I guess she don't need my help."
Yeah. And
So
to that point, like like s- like Coach talked about, the progression of overload is about being able to adapt and switch because our bodies are smart. It starts figuring out things, and we have obviously to advance. We have to continue to kind of reestablish what that baseline looks like. A lot of training that we did at D1 is based on periodization. So there will be a certain period at certain points to where you're
Switch it
doing
up.
similar movements, right? And workouts because we're monitoring to see how well you progress. But within that
You're
period
right.
and that cycle, we still want to be switching things up, whether it be the tempo, the range of motion, the number of sets, all these different things are still variables that kind of go hand in hand. I love the art of confusion. I'm typically supersetting most things, right? When I go into a gym, I'm typically going to be doing multiple things because I like to keep my body guessing what it's going to be doing and not trying to figure out. No different from like your palates with your taste buds. If you're eating the same thing constantly, eventually you're gonna have to do something to switch it up to kind of be like, okay, yes, I'm eating chicken, or yes, I'm eating fish, but I need to spice it up by adding this, or I need to spice it up by, throwing this side with it. It just hits your taste buds differently. So the same applies with our bodies. And the bodies are super, super smart and they will figure out things pretty quickly. So I think people get stagnant and feel like they
Yep.
plateaued just because they haven't taken the initiative to do something different or get outside their comfort zone and
Mhm.
become a little bit of more person that's a little bit diverse with their workouts and whatnot. Even whether it's yoga, Pilates, running, biking, swimming, all those different things, in addition to strength training, it will be beneficial. But you want to try to, continue to just build upon what you're doing.
Yeah, mix it up a little. Oh, with that said, that's a good segue to what are some beginner-friendly ways people can safely start strength training without not just saying, "Oh, Imma go from 5 pounds to 50," like, what would be the steps? Either one of you take.
Uh, so you want me to go first? Okay, I would say so. I'm a stickler for technique and form. As a former CrossFit gym owner, because that's like one of the biggest criticisms a lot of CrossFit affiliates and coaches get is that oh yeah, everybody gets hurt there, blah 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 blah. And the reason that
Really?
that yeah, and that but that often happens one because it's a lot of coaches that really got into CrossFit because they were good athletes, right? And they're like, "Oh, it don't cost that much to open up a CrossFit gym. I could do this." And you have a lot of people that aren't really qualified, right? But that's a whole nother conversation. We could do a whole nother podcast just on that. But it's because technique and form has to preface weight and load, right? So you can't put a barbell on your back and throw plates on there and start squatting if you can't do just a basic body weight squat and get your
Mm,
body in the proper position to all the cues that are needed, knowing where your feet are supposed to be positioned, where's your back supposed to be, where are you looking, how's your core engaged, all those things. So to your original question, starting point is just making sure you have the fundamentals. You can squat, you can hinge, which is needed for a deadlift, right? You can engage, how to engage your core. And you'd be surprised, like when you like there will be clients that I'm coaching and I'm like, okay, I need you to just arch your back. Like just do this and I'll demo it. And they don't know how to do that. Like they can't connect their brain. They hear what I'm saying and they see what I'm saying, but they don't know how to move their body in that way, right? So you've got to start with just the basics and then gradually progress from there. So as much as I'm anti like 5 pound, super lightweight, there's a time and place for that, right? If you're just learning how to do a movement, then the lighter weights are gonna suit you well. But
right.
once you've learned the technique and you've mastered, all the foundational movements, then you progressively start getting more advanced. So I would say start with 2 days a week, 3 would be ideal, getting some body weight training, some calisthenic stuff, and then just some fundamental weight training with modest weight. And this isn't again where coach is helpful to make sure you're doing it right. Because a lot of people think they're doing it right, but they not. You know what I mean? And to have someone look at your form like, oh, your elbows are a little too, whatever the case may be. So
Yeah, to correct the
yeah,
form is yeah,
yeah.
that's one thing I could say, yeah, JT, you definitely helped me with form. I be catching
'Cause
myself.
that's how you get hurt. Yeah, I mean, that's
That
where the
makes sense.
injury happens,
That
right?
makes
If
sense
you're
why
not
a lot of
moving.
people are hurt at CrossFit because there's too much going
Yeah,
on. Everybody's competing, it's very competitive, so everybody
right, and you got
got people
people
better than you know?
and you got people coming in with no foundational strength. You
Right.
know what I mean? They don't know how to do basic movements, and they're throwing barbells around with hella weight on it, just
Mm.
getting it, moving it in whatever capacity they can move it just to get, just to get through the workout.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I'll have guys come. I used to have guys come in my gym like, oh, I work out all the time. I've been blah blah blah. And then I asked them, I'm like, all right, let me see your deadlift. And it's all jacked
Wow.
up. I'm like, bro, you're not putting like we starting with a barbell and we're gonna put some training plates on the end. I need to see that you can hinge properly, that you can get your back in a you know what I mean? So that's like foundational, and that's really like I'm really a stickler about form and technique.
Did
Yeah.
any other Oh, yeah, you got it. Now I was gonna say any other beginner-friendly ways you kinda
Well,
somebody can
she,
get started?
well, coach really hit on their key points. Body weight's a really good way to kind of start off. For the dynamic relationship between someone who's working out, if you're going to work out with a coach, hopefully people will work out with a coach. That's kind of the best route to take. But they'll be able to see basically your form, right? What does your posture look like? Do you keep your chest up or your shoulders collapse? Are you getting full extension? Are you potentially an ego lifter? I deal with that on the daily basis with guys that
A
come into
lot
the
of
gym.
those.
A
A
lot of
lot.
those. I kind of was teasing with a guy. I met a guy Friday before I got out the gym, and he was coming, and I kind of jovially teasing with him, was like, if you want to work out with the prep group, because he came really late. And I was just like, just tell me you're scared if you're scared. And he's like, man, I know how to do this, that, and the third. And I was like, I'm just teasing you, my guy, but a lot of times the ego needs to be checked at the door. Because again, that's going to lend itself to injuries when you're trying to, compete with the guy over here that's been working out for years, former D1 athlete, and you're just coming off of a keyboard, right? They don't match, right? Let's get a PPC pipe or get a barbell and work on form and technique, breathing, solid base. I'm really big on what are your feet doing compared to what the actual lift is. There's alignment things that I'm looking at. So, but if someone doesn't start with a coach, I would always recommend maybe kind of doing it light. A lot of body weight things, maybe some band and resistant type training. Is going to be a lot safer than free weight sometimes. And again, you're still going to get work, getting moving, getting active, and then not being afraid to ask for advice. Sometimes you have gym goers in there, and people will be around and they're kind of mimicking someone based on visuals. But
Mhm.
sometimes just open your mouth. It is a community. People are friendly. And if you see a coach or someone that, can tell has pretty good form and technique, there's no harm. The worst they can tell you is no, but more than likely they will probably help you out, right? Sometimes that advice is, solicited freely. I suggest starting off maybe 2, 3 times a week just to kind of get yourself acclimated. Don't hop in too early. There will be some soreness associated with it. There will be a piece to where, you're going to need to try to recover properly, getting proper rest, balancing, all your day-to-day stuff. But definitely just kinda taking your time as you look into this, and realize that it's a journey and but it's not about, this being a sprint right away.
For
Like,
competition.
be prepared for the long hauls.
Yeah.
Take your time,
Yeah.
Yeah.
take your time, get it day by day.
You
Yeah.
before you actually started the segue to my last question, but I wanted to jump in and say something. I don't know if you remember, this was, like, probably over a year ago that when
I
I was
know
at
what
the gym.
you're gonna say because I do remember it was you.
No, what are you talking about?
Oh, because you was trying to ego lift. I've had to correct
It
you
wasn't me?
several times. It
No, it
definitely was. And this is what she told me, Coach Shondelle. I did CrossFit. I'm a former CrossFitter. And she was like, "That's all the weight you want me to do right now?" I say, "Simone, I don't know you. I'm learning you right now.
Exactly.
I
Like,
know
you
that you
see
can do
what
this
you do.
properly."
Let me.
And like
Yeah,
clockwork,
and I
she did it improperly, and I was like, let's recalibrate real quick. But then you figured it out. So it was that you just forgot.
that was my line.
yes.
235. Look, come on, I know what I'm doing. Like, but wait, but that's not what it was. It was an
Okay.
incident where there was a young man that came in and he was like, I know how to do this. Like, he was real cocky and he couldn't even finish the class. Like we were all still going and he was like
Yes.
sideline. You remember that?
Yes. I remember that guy.
We
Yes.
were laughing like, yeah, look, see, put
Yeah.
all that
It's
mess and
tough.
he didn't even finish the class.
But there's also like different ways of training, right? There's people who like work out in a traditional gym and they do their, you know, do a set, rest 2 minutes, do another set, rest another 2 minutes.
Right.
It's a very different type of training than like what I did in CrossFit, probably what JT does, what I see you
JT don't
doing. Like
can't sit down.
there's no resting, right? It's right because you're trying to keep the heart rate elevated, and it's a lot more functional movement,
Yeah.
right? Even though you're lifting some challenging weight, you still are moving through the workout. It's not like bodybuilders or yeah. So those people when they come in that kind of environment, they always gonna be gassed. They always gonna be
Always,
gassed.
always.
Drives me crazy when I'm at the gym and I see people just on the phone the whole time or they're taking these long breaks, lounging. I'm like, y'all going to work. I feel like saying, cut the yapping, but I'm like, I need to stay focused on me.
What drives me crazy now that I'm like working out in a regular gym is just like how bad people's form, like people do some crazy stuff.
Want to
Their
correct them
technique
so
is,
bad.
and I just want to like, I gotta like, I walk in there and I'm like, Shondelle, you are here to work out. You are not a coach in this environment. Like people don't know anything about you. They don't know, like, don't. And I even when I closed my CrossFit gym and I went to other CrossFit gyms, and they were way bigger than mine, so they would have like 30, 40 people in the class, some brand new people, and just the
Nobody
things
helping.
that and nobody's helping them, and they just doing lift. And in those moments, like I saw this lady, deadlifting, her back was hella round, like she was gonna herniate a disc. Like I could not stay quiet. So
Yeah.
I had to, correct her. In that environment, I felt a little more comfortable, but like in the traditional gym, now I see some crazy stuff and I have to literally just like put blinders on and just not try to focus on what I'm there to do. And the unfortunate part is that as JT coach said earlier, or maybe you said it, a lot of people learn how to what to do by watching other people and what they're doing.
Said it, yeah.
So you watching people who don't know what they're doing and just perpetuating these horrible movement patterns,
Right, right.
you know? So
All right. So my last question, yeah, I trust me, I keep my mouth shut. I'm like, I'm not a coach, so I can't say nothing, but I just see people doing crazy stuff too. All right. So my last question is, what role does recovery, sleep, and protein, I mean, it's a lot, and nutrition play in, healthy aging and muscle growth? And I know protein is what I keep hearing about lately. So it's like all over, social media. But maybe one of you pick one thing and another of you pick another thing, and we can wrap it up.
well, I'll talk about sleep because I
Okay.
know I'm not so much in that 35 age group, but I know being in perimenopause and how old are you, Simone? I don't even know. Are you about my age, right?
I'm 50. No,
Right?
I'm older than you, I think. I'm 53.
Okay, I'm 51. So yeah, that
Uh-oh.
age where, and I don't know if you've experienced this, but sleep changes,
Yeah.
right? Sleep becomes very problematic, and our body recovers in during sleep, right? Also, sleep, if you're not sleeping well, you're elevating cortisol. Cortisol is your stress hormone, right? So if you're sleep deprived, you are chronically stressed. Even if you don't got no other stress in your life, just not sleeping properly, you're elevating cortisol, which is a huge contributor to belly fat, which we are already struggling with in perimenopause,
Mhm.
right? And your body recovers when it sleeps, right? The work that we do in the gym and in all the things we do, the changes don't happen while you're doing the work. The changes happen while you're sleeping and recovering, doing all the things outside of the gym. So sleep is critically important, and I have seen significant changes with clients who have been doing all the things right, but that was the one variable that they just could not nail, and once we nailed it, everything
Gotta
changes.
work in, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so
I gotta work on, but go ahead.
I mean, so yeah, we could talk another time about like some strategies because sleep is important. I started taking progesterone, so that's a hormone replacement therapy, which has changed the game completely. I'm taking magnesium, I take glycine. Like I got a
Listen,
whole freaking I gotta sleep.
evening,
I gotta, and your evening routine is important too,
yeah,
right? Not being in blue light, being on your phone right before you close your eyes. Like it's a whole lot of things,
right,
but sleep is critically important. And there's lots of studies to show when you're sleep deprived, you're not gonna lose weight. You're not gonna lose weight because cortisol is an inhibitor to fat loss. And
right,
if you're sleep deprived, your cortisol is elevated.
right.
So gotta sleep.
It's so funny. We actually have a show coming up. I already recorded about sleep, like how to create routines and what have you. Now, Coach JT, talk about nutrition and protein, please.
Yeah, I mean, pro pro proteins are tied to the amino acids. Those are your building blocks for, building muscle, obviously, the muscle tissue, your hormones, enzymes, immune functions. Quick s quick story, I had COVID, 2020, I got COVID really, really bad, right? Shut me down, couldn't work out, couldn't do anything, they couldn't figure out stuff, we know how that all went, people were getting sick,
Right.
but once I got to a space to where I felt recovered, and it was killing me that I couldn't work out during that time, right? But when I got to a point to where I did have some energy to basically do functional movement, body weight stuff, that's when my health started increasing rapidly. It was
Mm,
because of workouts,
right.
right? So my immune system was increased because of that, and I'm taking in protein shakes. I'm starting to get my appetite back to where I could eat. So it just really kind of helps support your recovery, and then obviously, it fuels us, with the things that we need to continue to lift and create that healthy metabolism, or the weight loss journey that we're on. It aids to kind of, the whole thing kind of aids to slowing down the aging process because again, now we can build lean muscle again through the proteins, having hydration in the muscle, the muscles need to be hydrated. We're breaking them down when we work out every time, so they need recovery to build up. So that's why another reason why that sleep is so important. There is such a thing called overtraining.
Yes.
Sometimes you can be doing too much, and
Mhm.
you're determined to be on this journey. But if you're overdoing it, then you can kind of put yourself in a deficit, going the wrong direction and losing muscle mass and things of that nature. But having a healthy diet is going to aid everything that we do inside the gym. The cardio, I know we talked about people who are like cardio warriors and whatnot, right? It's super important. The cardiovascular is super important. But the anaerobic or the strength training is it goes with it. But then there's the diet as well. So all these things kind of intermingle with one another. And the
Mhm.
better we address all of them, the more product and better results we're gonna have in general as a whole. So we cannot say, okay, well, I'm working out really hard in the gym, so I can go eat whatever I want to eat or drink whatever I want to drink because I've worked it off. It doesn't necessarily work like that. I mentioned
Yeah.
earlier that the body's really, really smart, right? These bodies are better than any sort of AI that could ever be created. So when the body's starting to realize, okay, this person's doing XYZ, they're working out, but I'm not really getting the nutrients that I deserve. I'm gonna just store some fat right here, and
Mhm.
then maybe I'll just kinda hold on to that in those stubborn areas like, the love handles or under the arm and things of that nature. So you gotta have a healthy diet to support everything that we're trying to do in other areas.
And that
It's just no different from having a solid foundation on a house, right? We don't build on sand, we don't build on unstable dirt. Whatever the foundation is, we continue to build upon that. So having a healthy diet from a very young age, they talked about, our food groups when we were coming up, we're all similar age, but when we came up, it was all about having those core meals and getting in the fruits and veggies and things of that nature. But yeah, go ahead, coach. You were about to say something?
I was just going to add to two things to what you said. One, this is what I tell my clients, and it's like a good mantra for them. It's easier to eat your calories than to burn your calories,
Mm,
right? You can work out, you can work your butt off for 30 minutes hardcore and burn maybe 300 calories.
right.
You can go eat a bag of M&Ms and that's 350 right there. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So we think we equate like our sweat with like it's literally like fat coming off our
Mhm.
body or
Right.
something. Sweat is just water. Like your body is just cooling down. It's not, you know what I mean? So yeah, absolutely. It's not one for one calorie wise as far as expenditure and intake. And then number two, protein is also great for just keeping you full, right? And yeah, you get satiated with protein and fat. So like a lot of people who will eat like, oatmeal for breakfast, no protein, or oatmeal, banana, orange juice, and then an hour later they're starving because
Starving.
they've had no protein, they've had no fat, they spike blood sugar, right? You spike blood sugar, then you're gonna get residual low blood sugar. The body's like, okay, blood sugar's low, we need more food,
Right.
and you're gonna just keep eating all day. That's why sugar is like, that's that vicious sugar cycle. So just general rule of thumb, whenever you have your carbohydrates, always make sure you pair it with protein and fat. You
Mm,
never what I call them naked carbs. You never want to eat naked carbs, meaning just carbs alone. Always throw some protein in there. And general rule of thumb is also about 30 grams of protein minimum per meal.
Okay.
I mean, that's very loose, but that's like
I'm right
bare
there at
minimum.
40, so yeah, it's
Yeah,
so
if you're
hard
at
to get
40,
some.
that's great. I
It's
mean,
so
I tell
hard.
my ladies 100 and 100 a day,
Yeah,
absolute minimum,
yeah.
right? Like that's
So
gonna make
hard.
sure that it's hard. It's and especially for folks who aren't real like meat eaters.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they're not necessarily vegetarian, but they not like really they not gonna just go and like eat a steak or go eat a, you know what I mean? It's hard. You gotta have the protein shakes. I mean, you gotta that's like staple, I think, having at least one protein shake a day, right? And then like boiled eggs and
Yep, I always have
tuna
boiled
and
eggs.
Yeah.
like I mean, it's important because if
Right,
you working out hard and lifting and then you getting a total of 40 grams of protein in a day,
right.
you're not gonna see much progress.
Yeah. About 10 years ago, I was vegan for 8 months, and I remember I either gained weight or I never lost weight, and at first and the lady that was helping me, she looked at what I was eating, she was like, "You're not eating enough protein, that's why you're not losing, your body's, like, holding on to it." So,
Yeah.
healthy and then yeah. One last thing, that was the last question, but I do wanna add on, if you could add on, related to the benefits of as you age, why muscle's so important. So for instance, as we get older, the bone density weakens, people are not ripping, they're falling on the steps, they
Yeah.
they have a looser grip, they can't even like, women can't even do their hair, they can't put on their own clothes. Like what are some things related to why you think as you age, like get really older, like in your 60s, 70s, 80s, why you should still be lifting weights? Should they still be doing it as they get older?
Well, absolutely, because it's not. I mean, we get to a point like everybody wants to look good, right? Aesthetics, but as older you get, it becomes less about aesthetics and more about function and quality of life, right? I'm on my mom every day, and she don't move at all, and it drives me bonkers.
Oh,
Like she does not move, and she's 75, right? And I see her like movement like I see the shift, I see it happening. Like all it takes is one, God forbid, one bad fall, and you gonna probably have a broken hip because you're not doing any sort of strength training to strengthen your legs and to build bone density. You
right.
know what I mean? So if it's never too late to start, the sooner you start, the better you're gonna age and the easier, like all the stuff we're doing now, like when we're in our 80s, we're gonna be running laps with our grandchildren or whoever, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's about quality of life, so never make the excuse, I'm too old." Like, that's all the more reason. The older you get, all the more reason why you have to preserve your muscle and build as much of it as possible.
Yeah, and it helps with circulation, blood flow, and even the joints. Like
Lymph
if you're
nodes.
just it's just think about it like when you're traveling for a very long time, right? And you're just stuck in that same spot. How once you get up, how it's kind of painful to your
Mhm.
joints or your feet or they swell. Well, it's inactivity, right? So we need activity constantly. I've been fortunate enough to know quite a few number of individuals who made it to well into their elder years, like, I'm talking about 100 plus, right? All of them were active. They never stopped, right?
Yeah.
Whether they were, joining, working at the local grocery store, going for walks daily, or gardening still. So you just gotta keep moving, even, there's science behind, still training like an athlete. You know, I'm I'll meet women 50 plus saying, "I don't do these box jumps." And I'm over there like, "You don't do them yet." But, obviously, there are things that we have to modify sometimes,
Right.
and I'm aware of that. However, you know, it's just beneficial to be training like an athlete, excuse me. The lymphatic system, benefits from all of this. Just the benefits on the long-term overall health system is so much greater, than not doing it. The reason why so many people are visiting the doctors being told, "Yeah, you gotta take this pill or take that pill,"
Mhm.
is because they don't have the health to back what they're doing, right?
Right.
And
And it's what you do now, you know what I mean? Like, when
yes,
you in your
positive.
30s and your 40s, you feel like, "Oh, I'm good, I'm healthy, I don't need to,"
Yep.
but it's
That's
what we
it.
do now is determined what we do now determines how we gonna live in our 70s and 80s and beyond. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you've gotta like prioritize it. It's gotta be like top of the list. You can never stop moving. You can
Yeah,
never stop moving.
and I've always kinda looked at individuals around me, like those individuals who were healthy, and I'm like and then I find out how old they were, and I'm like, "Wow, you look amazing, like, that you're my goals," right? So I've strived to be that person, and as I've aged, people find out, they say, "Oh my god, you got a daughter in college, almost graduating," but that's to the fact of, I'm striving and been making deposits along the way that I knew were going to benefit me later. It's delayed gratification,
Right.
Yep.
so, and it's never too late, if you got on to it late, obviously that's okay,
You hear that, Dad? You hear that,
it's
Dad?
it's your
Better late
fitness.
than never.
Right? So just
Yeah.
get in there, start doing some things. My wife and I were just talking about her wanting to do more strength training. So, because she does a
She's
lot of
a Pilates
yoga
girl,
and
right? A Pilates girl, you
she loves her yoga and
yeah,
things of that nature. But yeah, we want to do both.
You can do both.
I love both.
It's
I
not
do yoga too.
We
yeah.
Yeah.
incorporate all of
It's
it,
not one or the other. My
Yeah.
daughter's
Yeah.
the same way. My daughter's big Pilates obsessed, but now she's starting because the other day she was like, we had a little competition doing something. I was like, she's she's like, I bet you I could do more push-ups or something about push-ups. I'm like, get the heck out of here. So I get on the floor, right? I do like 10, 15, not on my knees. She gets down, does one, barely coming up. I'm like, that's because you don't strength train, you don't lift, like, you gotta lift weights, so now she's starting to lift weights and, do more. She's like, "Look, mom, I got 25-pound dumbbells, I can squat them. Can you do this?"
So I do want to say this and give both of you guys a big shout out. I think y'all look amazing. I'm super proud to be speaking on this
Mhm.
topic with you because I remember years ago when I first got into it, I used to look around and I honestly was a little bothered by the fact that I didn't see what I see nowadays, right? Women of color that have been very intentional about their health. And again, there were pockets of that, in that time. But now I just see it, whether it's trending or trying to do it as an influencer, whatever works. I just love seeing that people have taken back control and power of, own your power, as they say, taking control of, what potentially can be with their health. And that's by means of getting active, working out, strength training. It's happening today in a major way. And I'm here for it. I love it. I want to continue to grow. I think that you are phenomenal ladies. You're amazingly strong, and I see a lot of power in it. So I wanted to continue to grow because it's not a male
Thank
or
you.
gender thing. It's not an age thing. It's just really an individual choice to decide to be a better version of yourself. So I do commend y'all and give you the utmost respect for
Thank you.
what you've
Thank
become.
you.
You coach. Well, let
Thank
people know how we can reach you because I got you. You're in Atlanta, Coach JT. So tell people your Instagram and then where you coach at.
I don't remember it right away, so let me kind of get my
Oh,
cheat code.
oh, we'll
So,
pause.
but no, they can find me on IG, your social. It'll be James Thornton underscore athlete. I fashion myself as a hybrid athlete. I'm typically doing all type of things. So yeah, you can find me there, or quick Google search James Thornton NFL, something like that. You probably find my LinkedIn and some of the other stuff.
When I googled you, I saw one of your old pictures with the locks. When you told me you were a little menace and you were a little troublemaker.
you.
When I see yours, I'm always like, huh, I wish I still had mine.
And then Shondelle, how can we reach you?
So my handles are Shondelle Transforms with an S, and then, I mean, I have multiple websites, but the one that's kind of operational now is thefastersystem.com, thefastersystem.com. And then I'm actually, to your point, JT, a little bit, or your what's the accolades of Simone and I or whatever, which is much appreciated. But I'm actually about to launch a new brand called Black Woman Move,
Ah,
which is, yeah, and it's about really just reaching out to the sisters more to get us more. Because I'm still, I mean, yes, we're doing better, but still, I can go in the gym on any given day and I can count how many of us are in there, females,
Yeah.
on one hand. You know, in my
So
gym I
much.
had for 17 years, I had my gym, and I trained thousands of people, and I probably, if I had 100 Black women during those 17 years, that would probably be generous, right? And all the stats that are out there, like, we still have a long way to go,
Sure.
and I feel like now I'm being called to this, like, mission to really spread that message that we need to get our Black women more active in prioritizing our health and honoring our bodies. And so I literally just launched this like 2 days ago. It was like a divine
Wow.
download.
Good
It
timing.
all just came to me. Yeah, it all
What
just
city
came to
are
me.
you
So
in,
I don't
Coach?
know. I'm in Hollywood, Florida, so between Miami and Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, but
Interesting.
whenever I'm in Atlanta again, I'm in Atlanta often. I'm gonna come check out D1. They
Oh,
have
you'll
a
love
couple
it.
of,
You'll
I
love it.
know, I know.
Oh,
I
Yeah,
wanted to. I was gonna
D1
apply for.
Atlanta. We're located West Midtown, Upper West Side Atlanta. You'll love it there. You're always welcome there.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I'd
the
love
the
to
fit
come
the,
get to
the
work. It's a
super
thing.
strong.
I
Yeah.
cried.
And,
I
And so
cried
that's
when I
another
just
thing.
hold on. I didn't even cry at
Where
my own going away party. I cried at the gym.
Yeah, Atlanta is, it's a lot of Black people in Atlanta, and it's a lot of like more progressive Black
sure,
people as well who are a little more conscious and educated and stuff. So I'm sure you see a lot more than other areas of the
sure.
country see. But I think just as a demographic, we still have some work to do. Yeah, for sure. So
Wow.
that's my new mission. I'm excited, and
Well,
you'll be
well,
seeing
I fully
more about it
support
on.
it, and we'll definitely continue to back ladies like yourself.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate you both for being here. Thank you so much. I'm excited. We'll probably have to have you back for part two, I'm sure.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, guys.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for tuning in. We learned so much today. I hope you're inspired to get in the gym and even get a coach. And hopefully, if you're in Atlanta or South Florida, you can reach out to those coaches and see if they can help you because they are amazing. I've worked with both of them, and they definitely will educate you to get to your fitness goals. To learn more about what I do as an intuitive life coach, intuitive trainer, and Reiki master, just go to ownyourpowerlifestyle.com and you can learn all about what I do. You can even catch all the podcasts. We have over 400 podcast episodes. You can tune in to the YouTube as well by going to youtube.com/own your power TV. Make sure you like us and subscribe us and comment. We'd like to see more of what you got to say. And if you'd like to find out more about maybe even you being featured on a show, just reach out to me by going to the website and contacting us. If you have something to promote, if you have something that you're working on, a new book, new project, let me know. We're looking always for new people to feature. All right. I hope to see you next time. Remember, anything you want is attainable. Own your power. My mornings are so much better when I start with Rise. It's packed with mushroom-powered benefits that help me focus, boost my energy, and support my immunity without the crash or jitters. As someone with the ADHD brain, this steady focus is what I need. It's everything. Start your day with Rise.